he's one of the people that I've known the longest. It's been about 6 years. He's an amazing guy. I saw some from some of the intro stuff there. He's a vegan power lifter.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about some of the awards that you won doing that stuff.
The power lifting?
Yeah.
So I've won state championships, won nationals twice, second place in the worlds, and I've got 6 state records in California.
That is amazing for a vegan, right? I mean, we're seeing pictures of vegans being all skinny and, you know, they can't, but man, he's broken that mold for sure. So I met Al when he ran a gym called My Fit Life, and I've learned so much about health and nutrition from Al. You wrote a book called Better Living Through Whole Foods? And, yeah, and just an incredible book. I hope you got one back there? You have those books back there?
Possibly.
Yeah, if not, you want to check it out on Amazon.com because there's so much stuff. And I like how you wrote that book in little sections about the different things about the food. So how did you come up with the idea to write that particular book?
Well, it was just needed. The people didn't know about, over 10 years ago, people didn't know about GMOs and even organic and things like that. And, well versed in all of that. I'm with the Institute for Responsible Technology, so I'm with the GMOs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was necessary.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a great book. So the name of your company is called Movida. So for those that don't speak Spanish, what does Movida mean?
Oh well, my original company is My Fit Life, right? And I help people recover from all kinds of different things, but I have glaucoma, and I needed more from what My Fit Life had, so this is actually Spanglish for more life. You know, I needed cannabis oils for my eyesight.
Fantastic. All right, so you guys got Al's his code, and your question is going to be about what is CBD? What is it? Is it safe? And how do we use it into our incorporate it into our regular life? So I'm going to go ahead and give him this mic because that's cut out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and give you this one. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Morentin.
Right on. Okay, so thank you all for attending. Appreciate you being here, and I want to thank the Question Everything Conference, Joe, Elisa, and all the crew for having me be here. Really excited about this. So it's a really fun event, right? It's eye-opening. It's a little bit different. You know, it's almost like being in college or something, or in high school and for lectures and things like that. But the information is really important. It's really valid, and it's really important to question things, right? What I like to say with Movida and with My Fit Life is everything we do is based in truth and reality, right? So that's a big deal to me. We don't guess about anything. Before we get started, we want to make sure that you understand that Movida and our sister company, the Pure Health Defenders, do not claim to treat, diagnose, or cure any condition or disease with any of our products or programs, right? And very interesting that I have to say that, right? Before every single talk that I do, before every single video that I do, right? And we'll discuss in a few minutes why I have to do that. And it's a very scary thing, very scary for me, all right? So stop the confusion, the truth about CBD. Lots of confusion, lots of questions, and that's a really good thing. It's a really awesome thing, okay? So in December, Trump signed the bill, hemp is legal in all 50 states, right? So that's, the prohibition has been lifted. So that's a big thing, big deal, right? About 1932 or so, cannabis was made illegal. Before that, it was prescribed by doctors. You know, you could grow it. People were required to grow it. You know, it was used for all kinds of different things, and people were using it medicinally. Doctors were literally prescribing it for a plethora of things, right? So I already talked about a little bit about my athletics experience and stuff. I've been a holistic health practitioner for 32 years, right? Since 1987. So January was 32 years. And I have my original company is My Fit Life, and I have products, programs, published author, all that kinds of stuff, the 21-day reset, AWOL, a way of life, all that kind of stuff. We put thousands and thousands of people through our program, so we're no joke, right? With success, with people in here, you know, all over. So, and those programs, you know, like thousands of people in person, not on the internet where they bought stuff and didn't do it or whatever, like those are people that completed it, okay? Beyond that, I'm patient zero for my company, right? I do not take it lightly, right? I have glaucoma. With my glaucoma comes migraines, a lifetime of migraines, painful, right? And it's not fun. I was told about 6th grade that I would eventually go blind at some time in my life. And about 30, I was told, you have glaucoma, you're gonna go blind, right? It took me 17 years to figure out how to stop the glaucoma. Finally did it with the cannabis oils and stuff like that, specific extractions and things like that. Like I said, I've been doing this for 32 years. And was able to crush the migraines as well, a lifetime of migraines. So, I depend on the stuff as much or more than anybody. And the reason I started this company is because the quality of product and the consistency of product is hard to come by, right? Once people find a quality product that works for them, they go back to that person, the dispensary, the wherever, you know, in our case, wellness centers, chiropractic centers, and things like that, and they can't find it, you know, or they say, hey, wait for the next harvest or whatever, you know, that person that found relief in whatever it is, they don't want something else because they had to look hard to find that specific thing, you know, so they want that same thing, and then they don't want to wait for that next harvest to come in or 2 weeks for whatever and this and that. When I first got the cannabis oils in 2013, right? That's when I managed it for 3 years and just like stopped it in its tracks basically. About 3+ years in, those farmers and extractors lost their soul, okay? So they stopped making good stuff, and I went blind in just 7 days of not having the correct stuff, right? My glaucoma is very advanced. Headaches every day, like I don't want to live kind of thing, right? Like migraines are no joke. I finally found another supply that day. I started Movida, like that day. So I went blind, and it's not fun. Getting your vision back is not fun either. You know, I was in pain, I was in all kinds of stuff, and right before I went blind, I started, because I had wellness centers and stuff like that, I started a marketing agency for gym salons and wellness centers. I was pretty much semi-retired and having fun with life. I got an office in Long Beach down the street. 3 days later, I went blind. I put like hundreds of thousands of dollars into that business, had to shut it down. And I started Movida in that office. And that was me there, like still seeing gray, and I went completely blind in one eye, right? Still seeing gray. I had just, not even color yet, and I was like, I'm gonna get my eyesight back. That's I had my little vape pen there, my green juices, all this stuff, right? So, it's a journey. I started a thing called Glaucoma Hope, Charted Progress. I have over 100 videos up there. I did a video a day the first 50 days, and so it's pretty interesting. Like, I don't have full vision in the eye. I could see you guys pretty clearly right now. A month ago, I couldn't because I had a little mishap, right? So it's hard for me to get glasses and things like that because optometrists don't like me because I don't take their drops and things like that. I've never succumbed to the pharmaceutical stuff. My dad did everything that they tell you to do, and he went blind. And I know hundreds of thousands of people that do the same thing. I mean, groups that total over 1 million people, right? Nobody is having success. I asked the questions. Sustained success, not just for like a week or something like that. I'm the only one in the world that I know of. And I say this everywhere I go, even in those groups. And nobody says, hey, I know somebody, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, I would welcome somebody else that's having success because I want to know what they're doing, right? I want to see. I don't want to go blind. It sucks. It sucks really bad. So that right there, I had just gotten a new pair of glasses. I was so happy, so friggin' happy, right? And then 2 days later after that, I lost my supply again, right? Due to a little mishap. I thought I had a good supply of it over on my shelf, and it was display bottles. And so they're empty, right? So I had to get the raw materials brought down from Colorado and blah, blah, blah. I went 2 days without my stuff, just 2 days. And it set me back like 2 years, right? I went from not having a pain cycle and not a migraine for over 500 days to having them again, right? And it's like so this is what I'm trying to say. This is no joke for me and stuff like that. It's not like I think this is happening and we're possibly helping some people, right? This happened right after Thanksgiving, around December 1st. I was in pain, doing all kinds of stuff. My vision's going haywire. Like when I finally got the stuff back, a week later, I go to Home Depot. Boom! Like I couldn't see anything. I had to stay there for like a half hour before my vision started coming back to where I could see again. You know, like and just going in and out. I drove to Colorado to go to the farm just to make sure that everything's being done the right way during that time, and it sucked. I went last Thursday. I went into pain, the biggest pain I could remember ever, like tears running down my face and all kind of stuff. After that, I felt a little better. So this is like my third day of being really, really good. So this stuff is no joke. And I appreciate this stuff a lot and my ability to have this. So the truth about CBD, your missing link to vibrant health and mental clarity. So that is no joke. Let's go back into this. You know, we do not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease, you know, with any of our products or programs. You know, why do we have to say that, right? You know, and, you know, if it was a medication, then we could. A medication is the only thing that you could say that cures anything, right? If you say anything else, any supplement, anything cures anything, you can go to jail, right? It is no joke. I have a friend that said his stuff cured cancer on his website a few years back, right? College educated, white male, fraternity, blah, 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 this and that, never arrested, never anything, not in cannabis, deals with like apricot kernels and stuff like that, right? He just got out of jail in August, 5 years, because he said he could cure cancer on his website, right? So it is no joke. I have to be careful everything I say, right? A supplement, right? It was just legalized. You call it a supplement, you're going to jail, right? At the very least, you're getting shut down. It is not a supplement. A food, it's a plant. You could eat the stuff. It's, you know, there's all kinds of stuff. It's not a food, all right? It cannot be classified as a food. You can't put it inside of food. You can't infuse it into drinks, into any kind of food, into muffins, anything, right? They're shutting places down left and right that are doing that. So you have to be very careful the way you word things and the way you do things. If you are, then you can live a vibrant life with this stuff, right? And that's where I live. I've been doing this for 32 years. That apricot little kernel thing, that's just to let you know that it's not just cannabis, it's not just CBD, it's everything other than pharmaceutical medications, right? And by the way, the people that are behind the pharmaceutical industry are also related to the Nazi Party, right? That's a thing that I never really talk about, you know. A lot of these things, even this stuff right here, I never get to talk about because, you know, the general public wouldn't want to hear about that, and then they would just shut down with the rest of my talk. So it's really fun to be able to talk about this stuff in front of people that do question things, you know. So, but that is crazy, right? You know, it's not a medication, it's not a supplement, not a food. You know, what is it, right? You know, so, you know, it's banned, like I said, in the 1930s, and ever since then, there's been a decline in health. You know, cancer, diabetes, everything, way worse than it's ever been. There's other contributing factors, but that's a huge one, right? The other one are just contributing factors. This is like taking away from a system in your body, right? You have an endocannabinoid system, right? So you take away the cannabinoids that feed that endocannabinoid system, and you're gonna be in detrimental health, okay? There is a quote, I forget who the guy's name is, but he said that the way to control a society is to keep it in a constant state of sickness and disease, right? The way to control a society is to keep it in a constant state of sickness and disease. And then you provide a mediocre solution to let them like live but not be cured, right? So you're dependent upon the state. That's the whole idea behind this, right? So it's a big deal. I mean, all of the information is like been ripped out, basically. And we're having to like rediscover things. All that information and all this stuff that was prescribed for and all these different things, all the research that was done before, gone. It's like we're having to rediscover things. It's crazy, you know? And people don't realize what it is. Food is a big deal. It's a very, very big deal. You know, people that talk about a lot of the other things, they don't talk about the food, you know, and the chemicals and everything that is inside of that stuff. You know, it's a very, very important subject, and they do try to control it. They're trying to take away organic. They're trying to take away a bunch of things. You know, put it just down into 3 foods. You know, corn, wheat, and soy. So you could barely have live, you know, sickly enough to work and provide for them. That's it, right? So we're all about living vibrantly and waking up, right? So that's one of the reasons we have that 21-day reset. It's a cleansing and detoxification program, right? One of the original ones, 15 years old, or 16 years old now, right? And that's the one, like I put 6,678 people through it so far in person, right? In LA and Orange County. So it's pretty cool. But what that thing does is it helps you to what we call like break out of the eggshell and see things for what they really are. And you could start to be able to accept things like this more clearly and understand them. It's really, really cool, right? So you have these different systems in your body, you know, and that 21-day reset that we do, it cleanses all those and detoxifies them, helps them to run optimally, right? Well, I didn't realize, you know, back when I first did this in 2003, when I created it, it's actually based off of naturopathic principles for cleansing and detoxification. It has my spin on it and stuff like that, you know, and I have it into a program. But yeah, it's when I did that, it was let's see, I sort of lost my train of thought a little bit. So yeah, it's efficiency. I lost my train of thought a little bit. Sorry about that. So let's see. Operating at optimal levels. I'll get back to that. Sorry about that. So CBD versus THC and other cannabinoids. There's like over 100 cannabinoids inside of the cannabis plant, right? CBD and THC are the ones that are the most prominent, okay? THC has the psychoactive effects, and it's the one that gets you high and things like that. It has some medicinal properties. The CBD also has some kind of medicinal properties, therapeutic properties, and things like that. CBD is not psychoactive, okay? So there are other ones, CBN, CBG, all these different kinds of things that have a lot of benefit too. They're not found in high amounts, right? The CBD, when you isolate it from the THC, there's a lot of controversy about that. And that's why we're talking about this right here. I get asked a lot, like, do you need THC along with the CBD in order for it to work? You know, and I hear a lot of different things. You know, like you hear, like I went into this place called MedMen a couple of months ago, and this guy was explaining to the woman, like, yeah, the THC, is like the carrier for the CBD, and it drives it around the cell and drops it off and wherever it needs it and all this kind of stuff and blah, 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 right? And that is not true. They are basically just two essential nutrients inside of the plant, okay? They both have benefit, and, they both can attach to your cannabinoid receptors, right? But they're not dependent on each other. If you have both of them, then you can have better healing, right? Because they are both nutritious. So if you have one nutritious thing, and it could have benefit, right? But if you have two, then you could have more benefit. That just makes sense, right? So if you do stuff with THC and CBD, you can have some healing effects. If you do without it, then depending on which company, or who's making it, how it's made and stuff like that, you can have benefit, right? So we've proven that over and over again. The predominance of what we sell, like 99% of our success stories, the hundreds and hundreds and thousands of them, are from just the pure crystalline CBD, okay? When I first came into this industry, I was just full on THC. I thought CBD was like some evil plot from the government to get our mind off of THC. It was just like, I didn't even know, I was like, just don't bother me with that at all, right? But, we are, everybody in here is basically a truther, right? So, you go off of truth and reality for everything, and you study and you see things. And so I started, I use myself a little bit, as the guinea pig, because that's what I am for the company. And then we have other people, that want to, experience. And so we put people on just CBD, just THC, and all these different things. And we figured out that the CBD is so amazing for just so many different things that we'll talk about in a second. And just by itself, right? Because I was under that, everybody that I talked to when I came back into the cannabis industry, with Movida, because I've been dealing with cannabis since the 90s, actually since 1987, but heavily since the 90s, right? But when I came back in, it was like, I figured by now everybody would have all this stuff figured out, and they were telling me all this stuff, so I believed them, But then I started seeing this, and I'm like, okay, so I broke away, and we developed our own little way with things. And I mean, there's people with all kinds of conditions, that are having amazing results and coming off of medications with just pure crystalline CBD, with zero THC. I mean, we're talking like firemen, policemen, like military, teachers, people that get tested, in other words, off of that stuff. It's really super cool, right? So we said it's a cannabinoid that exists inside of the cannabis plant, right? And our stuff comes from hemp licensed farms, but and we'll talk about what it actually is in a little bit, because it's a different slide. But yeah, so ours is legal to sell, all across the states and everything. But is it legal? And it's legal to ship all across the states. We have bank accounts with Wells Fargo now. We have merchant processing with the largest merchant processors in the United States. So we're fully compliant with everything. It's like beyond crazy. It's awesome. But there are 4 states. I can't remember what they are right now, but there are 4 states that just banned it. Like don't ship over here or whatever. So we pay attention to that. But the other ones, no problem. We haven't had any problems whatsoever. Showing it, whatever. The only place that anybody's had a problem was trying to walk it across into Canada. They got it confiscated. But other than that, everything's fine. Is it safe? And yes, it's definitely safe, right? There's I take massive amounts of it. Like when I was going through that thing I went through just up until last week. Like I had to take massive amounts to go through this, because my body processes through things really quickly. Like I've been tested like for levels of different things when I'm supposed to take stuff, and it just my body processes things like almost 10 times more than others. So like I take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of milligrams just to be able to see. Like I fight for my eyesight every day. If I don't take just for one day, my eyesight starts to break apart and stuff like that. So I fight for my eyesight every day. It changes around every day and stuff like that. It sort of sucks, right? But it lets me know whether stuff is good or not and all that kind of stuff. You know, like that's why I went to Colorado at the beginning of December, because somebody, you know, I got some bad stuff and I had to go up there and make things right, you know. So, but I know right away, you know, beyond just testing to see if it has stuff in there, are the components therapeutically active in there? I could tell because my vision will start to go, right? And I don't have some special formulation that I do over here and sell stuff over here. Everything I do is off the shelf. You know, like, you know, we don't hide and keep stuff over here. We provide everything we have, all the beneficial stuff to the public, okay? Will CBD get me high, right? So you'll hear different people say different things about that, right? And so technically, no, okay? You don't feel high, especially like if you do the capsules and things like that. It is possible to feel more relaxed or to feel more energy. Like you'll hear people say different things about it, right? But you really don't get like some psychoactive, weird, floaty thing. You know, actually it helps you with your clarity and all that kind of stuff. You know, your recall, that kind of stuff. So it does not get you high. It can make you feel good, especially if you do it like a full spectrum with the terpenes in there and stuff like that. There was these people, they were doing a documentary on me, and there was a director and a producer, and they were sitting in the loft that I had in LA, and we gave them a vape pen and to take a hit, and they took a hit and they were sitting there and they looked confused, and I said, what's going on? And they're like, well, we feel good, but we don't feel high, you know. And it's like, yeah, it's possible to feel good and not be high, you know. So but yeah, the terpenes in there are like an essential oil, right? And essential oils make you feel good, you know. So that mixture can make you feel good, but it doesn't confuse you. It's not like you're impaired in any way. Like I said, if anything, it makes you think clearer and all that kind of stuff, right? So how can CBD help me? Okay, there's a variety of ways. The biggest way that people use it is for pain and inflammation. You know, reduces pain, or relieves pain, reduces inflammation, so it soothes and it heals, you know. So there's, you know, you read a lot about that stuff, you see on the internet and things like that, you know. But I'll go ahead and talk about a couple of people. Grampy Pat, he's one of the first people that like when I first started selling, you know, the stuff out to the public, and after I did all the case studies and everything for the first year, we started selling in the second year, and he's one of the first guys. He actually recommended it his neighbor across the street, and it worked really well for him. And he's like, hey, I don't have anything going on. I'm gonna, but I'll take it, you know, those little 15 milligrams you have, those that you say, and I'll do one in the morning and night, and I'll just do that and just see what happens, right? So remember, he said, I don't have anything going on. He's 72 years old. He's an artisan bread maker. Makes this badass like bread from einkorn flour. It's like biblical bread. It's so nutritious. And like about a month later, I'm going to the farmer's market in Orange where he sells his bread, and there's paramedics there. And I was like, oh shit, I hope that's not for Grampy Pat, right? And it was for Grampy Pat. And they took him to the hospital. Like, he felt lightheaded. And I was like, oh, I was like a little worried, right? So I talked to him during the week, and he said that he felt lightheaded, and he had a heart attack about a couple years earlier, and they were scared he was having another heart attack, so they took him to the hospital, right? So remember, like a couple minutes ago, I said he had told me that he's healthy, right? He has nothing going on. He had a heart attack a couple years earlier, but nothing going on. That's how people think. Like, they think they're okay. I have people telling me all the time they're okay, and then you have a consultation with them, and they're taking like 5 medications and all kinds of stuff. It's really interesting, right? So what happened was that the doctors determined that, he felt lightheaded because he was on blood pressure medication, which he didn't mention, right? 2 of them. And the CBD normalized his blood pressure, so the blood pressure medication took his blood pressure down too low, and that's why he felt lightheaded. So since then, fast forward, a little bit, we have over 100 people that, as an unintended consequence, have gotten off their blood pressure medication because of the CBD. They get lightheaded, they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, hey, you don't need this stuff anymore. I don't know what's going on, but you don't need this stuff anymore. So like, it's not that we told them, and they didn't even start it. No, nobody has come to us for, like, I have high blood pressure, I want to take your CBD. Nobody, right? It's all for like pain or some hardcore condition or whatever, but that's one of the unintended side effects, right? And we actually call them side benefits, right? So he continued to take it, and and I go to the farmer's market. Elisa knows, she and Joe knows. They could verify all this stuff, right? They get their bread from him too. So he tells me, hey, this is about 3 or 4 months in. He goes, come here, I want to tell you something. He goes, I just went back to the doctor, and he took me off both my arthritis medications, right? So healthy guy, feel great, I'm healthy. Had heart attack 2 years ago. I'm on 2 blood pressure medications and 2 arthritis medications. That's not healthy, right? So, but that's crazy. But so just off the 15 milligrams, no microdosing during the day, nothing. Just 1 little capsule in the morning, 1 capsule at night. He's off of 4 medications, right? And it's still, to this day, like his brother, his sister, his son, and like 20 of his friends. Like he's, it's crazy how many people are on stuff, right? Melissa's mom, this guy, he owns DMES Medical Supplies in Orange County, and he has several locations, and he is Movida in Orange County, right? Very skeptical. Medical supply stores are very regulated, super regulated, so they have to be very careful what they do, right? Like, and he had his wife take it, the wife's mom, his mom, everybody, right? She has rheumatoid arthritis, and she was taking this fish oil like this from these mussels that come off the eastern coast of New Zealand or some kind of thing, like something you can't get, right? And it was helping her a little bit. Like she has the hardcore, like you can't straighten the fingers out, and like so she's in pain, but whatever, and she's mean and all this kind of stuff, right? But probably because of the pain, He took her off of it, said, hey, I want you to go off of this stuff so there's no placebo, so we know what's working. I want you to go off it for 30 days, and then we could know. After 1 week, she was like this. She goes, give me something. I can't straighten my fingers out. I'm in pain. I want something now, right? It took less than 2 weeks of being on our stuff. She's taken the 40 milligrams, I think, and no swelling, no pain, nothing, right? And then she called up her son-in-law and said, hey, have I been a bitch the whole time I've known you? Because I've been so like stressed out because of this that I've been mean to everybody. She goes, I could see it now, because there's mental clarity that happens, right? And with it too. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I can't believe people put up with me. But and she was telling me this at one of the events that I do. I do this event like different places, and it was really awesome, right? And so like they have their mom back and all kinds of stuff like that. It's really awesome. So, like we mentioned, it lifts your spirits without the psychoactive head change, right? So and clarity, all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. So Melissa, just talked about her mom. Melissa, she's a pro fitness competitor, right? Hardcore, crazy Sicilian girl, and just works out like a mad woman. And she's been on meds since she was 5 years old for anxiety. She has the anxiety meds, mood stabilizers, antidepressants. All she's on the cocktail, right? OC mom, teenage daughters, all that kind of stuff, right? So, plus she competes and everything. Her husband said, hey, take this stuff. I want to carry this in my place, but I want to know if it works, right? And she goes, get that stuff away from me. CBD is bogus. It's just the same as a multivitamin, right? That's not going to do anything for me. I need medication, right? Just get that stuff away. And he's like, please, this guy came highly, recommended and blah, blah, blah. And so she finally took it. And after like a few days, this stuff's garbage, blah, 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 and not feeling anything. And then she actually called me about 8-9 days in and said, hey, your stuff works. I can't believe it. What is this voodoo magic, whatever thing that you're putting in here? Well, I was just at Knott's Berry Farm with 7 girls under the age of 12, and I was just like, they were like, hey, let's go over here. Yeah, no problem, let's go, And like usually I'd be wanting to leave, I wanted whatever, and I was just like, hey, you want to go to the park across the street too? Let's go, And so she was like, that is not right, that is not me. And like so she's been blasting the stuff. She's a sponsored athlete now and all kinds of stuff with us. She loves it. A really quick side note, I just saw her, so that it's not in the slides, but I just saw her to put her on board to be a sponsored athlete and stuff. And her sister, right? She's up north, she's just like her, hardcore athlete, CrossFit, all this kind of stuff. And her son has Asperger's and like a form of autism, basically. And he went, like, was suicidal, all this kind of stuff, depressed because of the medications and stuff. Like he said, he's depressed because of medications. And she was skeptical about taking CBD, right? Her sister takes it. Her mom takes it. Her brother-in-law sells it, and takes it. And she's skeptical about taking it. And she's definitely skeptical about giving it to her son because doctors that know what the hell they're doing, that she trusts, gave her stuff that messed her son up, right? So how's she going to believe some guy like me, right? And I sent her over the stuff and everything, and like she held on to the stuff for 3 or 4 months and did not take it. The doctor even said, you could give it to your son, but let me wean him off with this stuff or whatever, and he never did, and all this kind of stuff. So she took it, and she took it for, however long, and same thing happened. She called up her sister and said, hey, I just went to the mall, and I hung out, and I shopped. She goes, I hate the mall. I go in, I get my stuff, and leave, because everybody in there sucks, right? And I was just in there hanging out. I was just blah, 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 this and that. And she goes, are you kidding me? I've been stressed out my whole life, and all they needed was this. It was like crazy. So her son came over and said, I don't want to put any more chemicals in my body. And she goes, forget that, take this. And then they took her on, watched the videos on the YouTube channel and stuff like that about, all the natural whatever and blah, blah, blah that we talk about. And he's like embracing that, it makes sense, it just makes sense, to put proper fuel inside of you so you could function properly, right? And kids get that. He's 14 years old and he's so happy. That's going to make him feel better. Like it's crazy. It's pretty awesome what this stuff does. Sydney, I've known her since she was born. My friend, we sell minerals, superfoods, all this stuff. Holistic health practitioner, right? We have the best of the best of the best. My friend Robert Williams, he's like the Indiana Jones of the superfood world, basically. He just goes all over, like they bring like the rocket cow down on donkeys to his little processing plant, in Ecuador. I mean, it's crazy. It's like above electricity and pollution and everything. It's nuts. His daughter called me. She lives in Whittier over here. He lives in Argentina now. But she says, hey, she's like 21 now, and I have hardcore anxiety. I'm stressed out, blah, blah, blah. And my dad told me to call you and said you might have something to help me. So I sent her over the capsules, whatever, and she called me up next month. She goes, same thing as that other girl. She goes, this is like voodoo magic. I don't know if it's placebo, whatever, but I don't feel stressed out anymore. I feel like going to college again, and I feel like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. next month she orders again. I've given it to her for free, actually, you know, because my dad will pay for it, but he's in Argentina. So but like, you know, I love her, you know, so I'm throwing her more, and then that second time, or you know, for the third re-up or whatever, you know, she says, hey, I didn't tell you when I first called you that first time, but I was suicidal when I called you, right? I didn't want to live. And like you were like my last little call. My dad told me to call you. And she goes, I feel so amazing now. And if you need anybody to work for you, if you need anything. It's like she came to one of our shows. She's an artist. She drew this drawing for me. Like I've been back in college. She sent me a thing like, can you give me a recommendation for a job I'm applying for? Like it's crazy. You know, I was crying. It's pretty nuts, you know. But it helps you just to feel good inside of your own skin, you know. We're even inside of a damn drug rehab center, you know. Helping people get off of meth and heroin and stuff like that, you know. But the enhanced mood, mental clarity, that's a big deal, right? You know, feeling good inside your own skin, you know, and feeling comfortable. Yeah, that's a huge thing. But having that enhanced mood, you know, and having the mental clarity, that's a big deal, especially with business owners, you know. And even with, you know, parents, people in sports, all that kind of stuff, you know, where you have to have, like, make decisions that matter, be confident with them, you know, be clear about them, and not second guess yourself. And that's what this stuff helps you do. It's really, really crazy. So we have an artist, Megan Hall. She's also, is a producer and does documentaries and stuff like that, you know. And we're doing one called, they're pitching one right now called Meats, Sweets, and Treats, which we're providing the CBD and all that stuff for and whatever. But she's also an artist, and we're getting ready for a show. And I had given her stuff, you know, like, because she wants to do the show on, I wanted to experience it, say, hey, you know, you got to feel what this stuff does to you. You know, you can't just do this show and be talking about it and not know what you're talking about, right? So, and I told her about the mental clarity and stuff. So it's about 1 a.m., you know, we're getting ready for this street art fair thing, you know, and we're hopping on this elevator in downtown LA, coming out from my loft, and she goes, Al, she goes, you know what? That thing about the mental clarity and this and that and blah, 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 she goes, you were on point with that. She goes, right now, it's 1 a.m., the show's tomorrow, we're not nearly ready, I would be stressed out, you know, like just whatever, blah, blah, you know, screaming and yelling at everybody and doing, but I'm together, I know what to do, I know that it's going to get done, and I know it's going to be badass. And it was just like, wow, you know, that's beautiful, right? That's awesome. And then me, you know, with Movida, you know, this is a hardcore badass company, you know. We have the best of the best, you know, quality and all that kind of stuff, you know, because I deal directly with the farmers. I've been dealing with farmers since the 90s, right? So that's why this company is really had the skyrocketing success that it has, right? Because I understand biodynamic farming and all this kind of stuff, and I know what to get, right? So you know, we deal with the farmers, we deal with all these different things, and I have the confidence and the clarity to be able to go out and do that, to go out to Colorado and wherever I need to go. You know, I'm an introvert. I don't like being around people, right? I would rather be in like a lab formulating and doing stuff, and just, you know, like I went to Vegas when I was having all this stuff. I went to Vegas by myself, and I just stayed in the room for 4 days, and I didn't go to a casino, I didn't go anywhere. You know, I just stayed there. But when I have to go out and do stuff, and when I have to go out and make a point, I could do it now, and willingly, and you know, and get my point across, be clear about it, and just do amazing things, because I'm confident with all of this stuff now. It's really, really cool. It's just amazing what it does. Like the number of people, especially women, that have come off of their anxiety meds and things like that, is just and get their life back. Because that's the one thing that we say about Movida, is it gets you off the sidelines and back into the game of life, right? Because so many people are sidelined. You know, they can't function. They can't play with their grandkids. You know, they can't. Some moms, they can't lift their kid into the grocery basket. You know, whatever. It's crazy. You know, so we get people to function better, to think better. You know, and enjoy their life, right? And that's what this stuff could do for you. So it's a missing link. You know, something that your body requires on a daily basis, to operate at the utmost optimal levels, right? That's a key. You have an endocannabinoid system, so it's not something you take for a little bit to get out of pain. It's something you take for the rest of your life type of thing, just like water and food and stuff like that, because that's what it is. You have an endocannabinoid system. You know, once you get better from whatever condition you have, or you get the better thinking, and you get off medications, or whatever the hell it is, you still continue to take it, so you continue to have those benefits. You don't have like this yo-yo kind of thing, right? And you could get clearer and better, and sometimes people don't even know that they have things going on with them, right? And they start taking things, and they go, oh, wow, I can't believe how good I feel now, because I talk to people, and they say, well, I feel great, I feel whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, but they don't, you don't know what you don't know, right? Same thing with the 21-day reset. There was one of the artists that does work for us, she's a fine artist, and she called me up after the first week of the 21-day reset, and, the first 7 days, and goes, hey, I feel great. I'm not bloated anymore. It's amazing how good I feel. She goes, but guess what? Last week, I didn't even know I was bloated. I thought I felt fine. I was doing this just to get my sister in here, because she needs it, and so I'm doing it with her, and I feel amazing, right? And now she's, she goes through like that CBD like wildfire now, because she trades art for it, So, but yeah, like her sister is hasn't had a panic attack in like I think it's 2.5 years now. And she had the ones where like locked in the room, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Like it's amazing, just off of changing CBD and diet, right? Because it's not just one thing, it's a conglomeration of things. You need to eat well. You need to take care of your body. You take some CBD, you take some minerals, you take some, MSM, different things, some vitamin C, and you live well. You fuel your body properly, and you live well. That's why like we sell more than just CBD with Movida, right? We actually are developing what we call a lifestyle optimization kit with 5 things, including CBD and MSM and vitamin C, that are readily available. That's everywhere. It's widely available, but the good shit's hard to find, right? And that's what we provide. The best of the best stuff, and not just the best of the best raw materials, but the processing that it goes through to get into that jar is proper, on point, right? So all therapeutic activity is either activated or not destroyed, right? So, because sometimes it already has it in there, and you just have to make sure it's not destroyed along the way. Sometimes it needs to be activated and then make sure it's not destroyed along the way, right? And we make sure we do all of that, and it all matters, from the type of soil, to this type of plant, to the type of extraction process, to the formulation process, to if it's a capsule, the capsule that goes inside of, to the packaging, right? It all matters. I ask questions that people don't even know to ask, right? Because I've been doing this for so long, and I care so much about this. Like these guys care about, the questions that they ask. I am deep down the rabbit hole with this. Alternative and holistic health. That's what I am, right? I've been going against the grain for 32 years. Because I saw that it did not work, right? So how do you use it? That's a big deal too. What am I doing on time? Okay, so there's, how much? Okay, so you have capsules, tinctures, vapes, and topicals, right? So the capsules are the main way to take it. That is the main way. Tinctures can be as well. We call it a primary dosing. And that's going to have the long-term healing effects. And then there's also what we call like a microdosing that could happen, and that could be done also with a tincture or with a vape or with a topical. So the capsules you would basically do at either end of the day, or if you don't like a capsule, then you could do a tincture that's a similar dose as a capsule at either end of the day, morning and night, right? And then there's what we call microdosing. So that's just for the long-term healing effects, for lack of a better term, right? There's also like flare-ups and things like that could happen with either psychologically, anxiety, depression, whatever, or with physically. And you do have a tincture, so that would be with like a little bit less of a dose. Like if you're taking a 15 milligram capsule or a 40 milligram capsule, you might do a 5 to 10 milligram microdose, right? And that could be done with a tincture. It could also be done with a vape, you know, because a vape hits about 2 to 4 milligrams, you know, and stuff like that. So that's with that's for the secondary, like for flare-ups and things like that. And then topicals are obviously like just at point of contact and stuff like that. But topicals, like if you have knee pain, you want to take capsules or orally to get rid of that long term. The topical will help the immediate healing, but the long term, where it'll actually help to break down inflammation, crystallization, calcification, all that kind of stuff, to where that condition doesn't exist anymore. Does that make sense? Right on. So let me see. So it doesn't have side effects, just has side benefits, like we said. And you know, like the best one, you know, like we said, the capsules and tinctures are the most popular and stuff like that. You know, what you're going to take is going to be the best thing, you know. But will you test positive? No. There's no THC inside of the pure crystalline stuff. If you do like something with like a full spectrum, which we do have some of that stuff. We don't have it here, but we do have some of that stuff. Then you can, but you don't get high, but you can test positive for it. So if you test, then you want to do the pure crystalline stuff, which is 99% of the people that we deal with. So that's just talking about our purity and stuff like that. We don't have time for that, but we control everything from the farm all the way up through. I developed every extraction process, or refined the extraction process and developed every formulation, right? So that's why ours is different. And plus I tested on myself, you know. So let's see. So free of harmful chemicals, no harmful preservatives, laboratory tested. So even like our packaging components, it's a dark glass. It's beyond cobalt blue or amber and stuff like that. It only allows in 2 spectrums of light, right? So it preserves things 9 times longer than normal. So the bottle is the preservative, right? And we proved it over and over again. But yeah, so we think of every single thing all the way down to the packaging. It's really, really cool, right? And those are just some of the things that people have success with, besides just the regular pain, inflammation, anxiety, depression, things like that. All right. So utmost care, because we care, and you know I have 32 years in business. You know, so I don't take anything lightly. Not a stain on my record. You know, so we are the real deal. You know, I won even over here in North Orange County, which is what this is. I won Small Business of the Year. You know, as a little wellness center over all the other institutions. You know, it's crazy. You know, very well respected around here. So, you know, and remember, at the end of the day, I'm a patient. I need to see too. You know, so I depend on this stuff as much or more than anybody else. So, and then like back there, we have a 25% off all products and stuff like that. You know, so and that's it. Thank you guys.